Hello, my friends. Welcome to Quiet and Slow. As the name of this practice suggests, we're going to move from a really slow place today. And the invitation as you move is to come back toward your natural capacity to slow down, to look within, and to maybe become reacquainted with some of the whispers being communicated through your body and your heart. Your mind. It might be helpful to have a couple of props for the practice. For those of you that practice with me, you know that I like to have props handy and available in case they could aid particular poses. So something like a blanket or a throw can be really helpful, and if you have yoga blocks at your disposal, it really can't hurt to have them near. We're going to start this practice in a pose of a child's pose. For a lot of us, child's pose can be a really lovely place to turn inward. If it is not a posture that you find comfort in at all, that's totally understandable. You might need to take a couple of minutes and take some stretches and opportunities to open and lengthen places of your body that can help you sink comfortably into the pose. So that's one option. Pause the video, take a couple moments for yourself to do that. Or option number 2 is simply take a different shape. If you don't find comfort in child's pose at all, maybe it's not your posture to start the class. So you could choose to find a different seated shape and catch up with us at a time that makes sense to you. If child's pose is something that feels okay, it's available in your body, we're going to start in that closer to the mid or back of the mat. You can take any child's pose that feels good for you. So I like to take the one where our knees open wider toward the edges of the mat and toes track together. If you prefer your thigh bones drawn together, no problem, you can find it either way. We're going to crawl ourselves forward and see what kind of comfort we can bring ourselves into. So depending on how your body finds its way into this shape, know that you have a lot of choices. We don't want to be uncomfortable in the knees or the ankles, so you could always pad beneath either of these spaces, the crook of the front of the ankle, the tenderness of the front of the kneecap. Some people also find a comfort in taking a blanket in a soft roll behind the back of the knee. This gives space to the knee and stops us from dropping the weight of our hips so deeply back toward the heels. Your hands can come to rest beneath your forehead if that gives you extra comfort in releasing the neck. And if you have no problem to lay your forehead straight down to the floor, you might want to do that too. We want to find comfort for the first couple of moments with our arms and our shoulders. So make sure that places of the upper back, the shoulders, the neck can settle. And then begin to see what it feels like to connect with the movement of your breath from this place of drawing inward. What does your breath sound like as we begin the practice? Where does it go to in your body? What places does your inhale fill and touch? What feelings and sensations are connected to the release of letting your breath go? Try to breathe quite expansively through the regions and rims of the back edge of your lungs, filling into the back of your rib cage, low into the base of your back. Be patient with each exhale as it leaves. We're going to take 3 more just like this. From here, if it feels comfortable enough in your body to do so, please start to stretch your arms out longer in front of you. You're going to push through your hands and walk your hands over toward the right side of the mat. And you find as you travel here that you're going to probably connect with the inner edge of your right thigh, or even start to lay your belly across the top of the thigh and the kneecap.
You're going to work to keep your hips sinking down towards your heels and your arms reaching lovingly over to the right until you get a nice long stretch through your left side. Breathe awareness into the spaces that are stretching in particular, and we're going to stay for 2. Hand by hand with an inhale, you're going to walk yourself back to center. And as you get to center, we're going to bring it all the way over to the left side. So same thing, long, slow stretch through the right ribs, stretching the arms and the upper body over toward the left. Complete with one more breath cycle. Great. Arm by arm, walk back through center, pause for a whole body breath. And push through hands and knees as you glide all the way back up. We'll bring the knees to a place they're no wider than the hips, and we'll rinse the spine for a couple of actions of cat-cow. Inhale to drop the belly, roll the chest open. Exhale, push the floor away, release the head, round the upper back. Let's take 2 more, follow your own breath. Great, one more time. Let your inhale begin to lift your gaze forward, and we're going to keep our knees and our hips exactly as they are. You're going to walk your arms further forward. So we're looking for the furthest place that we can stretch the hands toward the top edge of the mat that we can comfortably reach. And you're going to work to descend your forehead toward the space of the earth between your upper arms. Now, if your head makes direct contact with the mat, that's great. You're there. Pause and be there. I'll come back to you in a second. Friends who are in a space that your head is kind of floating in space, you're starting to feel some stretch and some pressure through the shoulders, you could choose to relocate your pillow, your blanket, your block under your forehead so you can let the weight of your head go, your neck muscles can release. We want a nice long stretch through the length of our spine, the length of our sides, the whole top crest of our shoulders, even through our arms. And you're going to breathe through this length for 2. Okay, it's entirely possible that a stretch like this is more than enough for you today, since the invitation of the class is to just be slower, be more quiet. So welcome yourself to stay here for a while yet, or even drop back to child's pose if that would feel better. Or you're going to bring your hands back towards you, splitting the difference. They'll be about 6 to 8 inches in front. And we're going to turn our toes under and lift our hips up. And we'll find the shape of a downward facing dog. Downward facing dog at the full height of the pose is that upside down V. Both arms and legs are straight. But you might find in the beginning straight legs doesn't actually feel that great. So if in your body you feel like maybe pedaling through the legs, bending one knee, sinking opposite heel, might help open muscles of calves or hamstrings, you could do that. Some of us like to keep a soft flexion in the knees quite continuously through the first few down dogs, and even look for a little stretch and a sway of the hips all the way up to the sky so that we can get length and life and a long stretch out of the arms, the shoulders, and the back body without having to pressurize through the space of the back of the legs. Wherever it is that you might be, you're going to continue to keep your hands spreading wide and send one more big breath all the way through you. And then look up towards your hands and use an exhale to walk or step the feet to the top. Great. When the feet are even at the top of the mat, inhale your chest up off your thighs, reach your heart forward halfway. And then use an exhale to drape down and fold over the front of the legs. Release the crown of your head. Soften and dangle and fold. Forward folds are also personal. So you might touch the floor really easily and be happy to hang. You might find that what you're called for is some sway, some release through the neck, the shoulders, the head, the upper back. You might need more flexion in the knees, a regrounding of the feet. You might want to catch a rag doll. You might even want a complete other option where you can set the elbows to the thigh bones and support yourself more. Wherever you happen to be, you're going to breathe one more. And push evenly through your feet. When your inhale comes, lift and roll and round. Use an exhale to stand tall. So position yourself at the top edge of the mat in an open mountain pose. And mountain pose is a quiet posture but strong. Feel the foundation of your feet firm to the floor by picking up and releasing your toes a couple of times. And then pushing evenly through the feet, lift energy all the way up from the legs into the center to splay open your chest. And brightly standing tall, take one more big full body breath here, just like this. Okay, now we're gonna move with the flow of our breath. So use a slow inhale to stretch your whole body up, and use a slow exhale to dive and come back down, forward fold. Great, half extension with an inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, release your fingertips. You're gonna step your right foot all the way back. We want a nice, long, clear lunge, so step the foot as far back as you can that you can comfortably reach, and then lower your knee to the ground. Your back toe can be tucked or untucked, that's up to you. You're gonna walk up into the top of your left thigh, and you're gonna check out any resistance that's hiding through the creases of your hips, the binding that brings hips into the pelvis, so attaching to upper body. I found a couple of pulses are really interesting to just investigate what's happening in the lower body. So you have choices. You can keep pulsing. This is a great way to slowly and rhythmically open up our resistances, or you can find a place where you simply pause. We're gonna keep everything sort of soft and slow. So you can either keep your hands on your thigh for support, or if you feel like you don't need that, fingertips down to the sides, and a slow inhale is gonna lift your arms all the way up. So you get a little bit more length and stretch through the upper back, through the sides of the waist, through an open throat. Good, when your exhale comes, both hands are gonna come down slow to find the floor. If you have blocks, this might be a great place for them. We're gonna shift and slide our hip back, kick our front heel further forward. Try to get length through all the various places of your body. So first through the back of your leg, and then all the way through the space of your low back. Like you could pull and tip your heart all the way forward to your toes. From tailbone to breastbone, you're getting longer. Breathe here for 2 big breaths. Be patient and slow. And drinking the breath into the tightest part of the tightest part. Yeah, when your exhale comes, you're gonna rebend through your left knee. Bring your hands to the inner edge of this foot and see about sweeping and kicking the foot around until you find yourself back in tabletop pose. Press your hands evenly to the floor under your shoulders, and then inhale, roll your chest open to cow pose. Exhale, push the floor away and round. You're gonna stay at that one more whole round. Inhale, lift your chest forward. Exhale, push the floor away and round. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands a little bit further forward under your shoulders. Turn your toes under and lift your hips up nice and high, downward facing dog. In my experience, in my body, I find the second downward dog always feels dramatically different than the first. So if you too are experiencing this, you might find that you need slightly different stretches, or you might want to go back to the same ones that you did the first time to continually enhance this space you're making in your down dog. You're going to stay here for 2 more breaths. At the bottom of the next exhale, you can look up towards your hands and walk or take a big step to the top. When both feet are completely even, inhale your chest up halfway. And then exhale, let this go and fold. You're pushing through the feet, inhale, lift and sweep arms all the way up. And then exhale, bring your hands down through the space of your chest. Same thing on the other side. Big in breath. Follow your slow exhale to bow. Take your time. Your own breath leads the way. Half extension, your heart pulls forward. Exhale, release your fingertips. You're gonna step your left foot back, and when you're ready, lower your knee to the ground. Your hands climb to the top of your right thigh, and we use a couple of pulses to check out how it is that we find ourselves into this spaciousness. So it might be a totally different story on this side. This might be the side that your hip has a little bit more availability, or maybe this is the side that your tension tends to bind up. So welcome yourself to keep pulsing and exploring, or find that spot where it's kind of sweet to pause and be still. If you can find that, release your hands.
Maybe lift your arms to the sky. All these things are optional. One thing doesn't mean that it's better than another thing. It's giving ourselves a chance to come back to that capacity to look inside and see what we need. When your exhale comes, hands come down to catch the floor. You're gonna draw your left hip back, kick your front heel forward, and then pull and peel each vertebra of your spine forward to your toes. Notice that as you creep the spine up length by length, the shoulders tend to come too. So try to draw those back down away from your ears. And breathe into the back of your right leg. We have 2 more. When your next exhale comes, you're gonna bring your right foot back to the floor, bring your hands inside edge, and you're gonna kick this foot all the way around to re-find your tabletop pose. Spread your hands out wide so you can plant them to the floor, and then inhale, open your heart. Exhale, push the floor away and round. Great, let's stay at this. Inhale, heart forward, cow pose. Exhale, retract your belly, release your head. Open the space between your shoulder blades. And inhale, heart forward. Reposition your hands a little in front of your shoulders. This definitely gives extra space to the shoulders as we lift. Tuck your toes and lift hips up really nice and high for downward facing dog. I like to clear a breath from the bottom of my lungs after finding space where the breath can come back to continuum. It's long and it's tempered and it's focused. Slow and steady, 1 more here. And please look up to your hands and use an exhale to walk or take a big step and come to the top. When your feet are steady, inhale your chest up halfway. And then exhale, dive down and fold. Arms to the sky, big bright inhale. And then hands through the center, come down. Good, let's find change. Inhale, lift up high. Exhale, sweet dive, come to fold. Half extension with an inhale. And exhale, simple fold. Fingertips to the floor, right foot all the way back. You're gonna lower the knee again. We're gonna keep our right hand onto the floor. I highly recommend if you have a block, bring that up and over. This will give you some more space, some more exploration. Left hand comes up onto the top of the left thigh, and you're gonna use both hands to lengthen into the arms, lift and peel the chest up toward the top of the left thigh. Again, don't be shy to use the block. This doesn't make the pose weaker. It actually gives us some more space to lengthen through the hips. So we can sink into the right hip, lengthen the heart up. And you can either keep your left hand on your thigh bone, or you can sweep and stretch these fingertips to the ceiling. Take the tip of each of your arm bone, upper and lower, roll them onto the back. Breathe space through the top of your collarbones for 1 more. Good, when your exhale comes, you're also gonna collect your left hand down, and if you have blocks, you're gonna bring that with you. Pull your hip back, kick your left heel forward. So very similar to what we just did on the last side. This can definitely be done with your fingertips on the floor. You're gonna pull your chest forward to your toes, and then see about pulling your toes back towards your shin. So now you're starting to create extra length through the back of your hamstring and your calf. You can keep your foot right into center, or if it's interesting, you're gonna use an exhale and start to point the toes over toward the right side. Good, inhale, lift back up through center, and then exhale, point your toes out toward the left side. Inhale, lift back up through center, and as your exhale comes, you're gonna re-bend through this front knee, but this time we're gonna take a totally different shape. So you're gonna let the fingertips help steady you. You can pick up your right knee, pivot on your whole right foot, so the blade edge of it runs parallel to the back side of the mat, and we're gonna open and spread our arms out nice and wide for warrior 2. Sink into any resistance that you find in the legs. Same rules apply as what we found when we were in our first low lunge. You can pulse with the legs if it's feeling like, holy smokes, I'm fatigued and tired. I need the opportunity to just pause. If it feels good to sink into this warmth, do so. We have 2 more big breaths. Good, when your exhale comes, bring both hands down inside edge of your front foot. You're gonna pick up the back toes, the back heel, so the toes face forward, lower your knee. Lean a bit to the right and sweep your left knee around. We'll recollect into a tabletop pose like we had done before. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, push the floor away, round.
Do this one more time. Inhale, lift your heart up. And then exhale, push your floor away and round. Inhale, lift your chest up. Reposition your hands. Bring them another 6 to 8 inches in front of you. And with widespread fingers, tuck your toes and pull the length of your hips up and away. Now what's amazing as we really start to move oxygen and blood back through our body is that the tissues of our body tend to slowly open and become a little bit more malleable. So from the pressing of your hands, push down into the floor and then lift the hips up super high. We're gonna look forward and bring our right foot all the way forward between our hands. If it doesn't get there easily, pull on the ankle and bring it up, and then lower your left knee. If you have a block, you're gonna bring your block under your left shoulder. Plant your hand here, bring your right hand up to the top of the thigh bone, and roll your chest open to the right. Consciously look at the way you can spread your collarbones out wide by pushing into your hands and lifting your chest. And you can choose to keep your right hand on your thigh, or you're gonna stretch these fingertips away and added extra space through the front of the shoulders. You might even find that it feels better to actually just bring the hand back down on the thigh. One is not better than the other. Move slowly and kindly. Good. When your exhale comes, hands come down. Again, if you have both blocks, you'll use them both. If not, fingertips to the floor works great. Kick the heel out in front of you. Pull your chest forward toward your toes. Now take your toes and peel them all the way back towards your shin, so you're really feeling the length and the stretch all the way from the base of the back of your calf through the top of your hamstring. As you exhale, you're gonna see about tipping the toes over toward the left side. Changes the sensation. Inhale, lift up through center, and then exhale, tip out toward the right. And inhale, lift back up through center, and as you exhale, we're gonna bring it forward. So your right foot comes back down to the floor. Your hands can come to frame this foot as your back knee lifts. We're gonna pivot the left heel for warrior two. When you're steady, arms stretch forward and back. Same as before, you might find that movement is necessary. And some of us really just like that static sink, stretching everything open. Focus the attention back onto the breath. We have 2 more. Really good. When your exhale comes, both hands come back down to frame the front foot. We're gonna come to the top. So pick up the back heel so you're facing forward and push down to step all the way up. Good. With both feet even, inhale your chest up halfway. And then exhale, release and fold. From your forward fold, flex through your knees enough you can touch the floor with your fingertips. And if possible, start to open your feet wider than your hips. Then turn your toes out into opposite turnout. We're slowly gonna start to squat down through our knees. So our knees are pointed in the same direction as our toes. And depending on how this goes, some of us a nice high squat with elbows resting to the top of thighs is great. Option number 2 is a block down under the buns, so we can start to get to a place where we are really lowering the hips. Option number 3 is fingertips to the floor. Your heels might pop up. That's no problem. Over time, they might soften to the floor. And last option is if you can keep your heels down, you'll stay rooted, drop the hips, and then work to see if you can lift the heart up towards your thumb knuckle. Breathe through your tender places. Slow and conscious with the breath. We have 2 more. Good. When your exhale comes, make sure you can spot your landing with your hands and come all the way back down. Ooh. We're gonna stretch both our legs out long and straight in front of us. And you're gonna keep your right leg at extension as it is as you start to bend through your left knee and put the sole of the foot to the inner edge of the extended right leg. Totally up to you whether this knee hangs to the side. If it feels like it's hanging out in space and it needs support, you could put a prop, a block, a blanket, a pillow under the knee, or you could just let it fall with gravity. We're gonna pick up through the space of the chest. And take a moment to feel the length of the back of the leg and the space of the low back growing bright. You can stay lifted tall, maybe even just drop your chin into your chest and be. Or if it's interesting to you, you're gonna walk into the length of this forward fold as though you could crawl your fingertips toward your front toes without needing to pull and grip through the hands. When you get to a place that you start to feel the stretch through your leg and your back, release your head. Start to breathe life through the places that are most affected through this effort. Slowly, slowly coming back to our capacity to be with what is. To notice how it is that our mind and our body interacts with what is. And softening the breath completely to be in this shape. We're going to take 2 more with utter patience. And if it feels okay, begin to drift your gaze forward, and with an inhale, you're going to reach your fingertips forward and up. With an exhale, swim your hands down. Use the support of your hands to kick your left leg long in front of you. And then we'll change sides completely so that the right knee bends and the sole of your right foot comes to the inner edge of your left leg. I like to literally move the flesh of my seat away so my seat is grounded and sit up tall. Fingertips direct to the floor opposite sides of your leg, and just like the first time, you can investigate and just see maybe sitting tall and releasing your chin forward is plenty. Maybe in your body you're going to want to walk yourself in deeper to explore. If you come to a place where that exploration really invites you into surrendered stillness, really let go of any pressure you might be holding through your neck or your face. We can't achieve a deeper pose here by trying to pull our nose toward our knee or toward our toes. So relax effort out of your shoulders. See if you can slow the awareness of your breath down. We'll be here for a few more. And with your inhale, look forward, drag your fingertips forward, stretch up. And then exhale, swim everything down. Kick both your legs out long in front of you and give them a release. Now in this next posture, if you do have a yoga block, you're going to use it. And if you don't, a really sturdy cushion might do the same trick, or a couple of really thick hardcover books might also work. We're going to lay ourselves onto our back body and find our feet onto the floor. So bend your knees, walk your feet in close towards you. We're going to lift our hips momentarily. We're going to slide the block beneath the back of our sacrum for a supported bridge pose. Now we'd love you to start so that the largest surface of the block is to the floor. Lift your hips, slide the block back to the space of the back edge of your hips and your pelvis. And then rest the heaviness of the back of your pelvis to the block. This is a great place to just check out and see how this feels. There is a large rim of fused bone that runs across the back of the pelvis, and this is the place that we want to support. So we don't want the block too far up to the place of our low back. That'll get pinchy. And we don't want the block too far forward where we're feeling like we're only supporting the meat of the bottom of the glutes. We want to feel like the block is rested right under the fused strip of bone at the back of our pelvis, and we'll know that we're properly rested when we can lift our feet up without a problem. Now, feet are going to stay to the floor. I suggest staying in this passive place where you're resting on the largest surface of the block, but some of us are really comfortable with this posture, and you could come to the second height. Some of us are really comfortable with this posture, and you can come to the third height of the block, but it kind of goes beyond the rest and the quiet that we're looking to inspire in the body in this moment. So I suggest the lower 2 heights of the block. Make sure the hips are comfortable, and then come up to an awareness of the head and the upper back. How can you melt your shoulders into the floor so there is structure and support? How can you rest the back of the head and position the head and the neck in a way that there is no compression in the neck, there's no cramping? And then invite a slow awareness back through the whole front layer of your body and see if you can expand with 3 more very, very slow breaths. When your next inhale comes, you're gonna push through your feet, try to lift your hips, release the block from beneath you if you've been using it. Lay your hips back down to the floor and then spread your arms open wide to the sides. I like to create the shape of a capital T with mine. Knees are gonna stay bent, feet are gonna separate, and we're gonna sweep and wiper the knees from side to side a couple of times, releasing the muscles that hold the hips, hold the pelvis, soften off through the belly and the back. This can be really natural for you, so find a rhythm that works. I like to inhale and lift the knees through center, and exhale, sweep away. When you come back to center with the sweep next time, heel toe your feet together. You're gonna leave the left foot on the floor and cross the right leg over the left so the knees can completely nest. You might want to use your left foot to help steer. We're going to put the hips out a little bit closer toward the right side of the mat and let both knees fall over toward the left side. Reposition your shoulders so you can fold your shoulder blades beneath you and make sure the back of the head feels really rested and cradled. If it doesn't, you can always reposition through props. You could choose that this crossing of the leg is not the ticket for you, so there's no necessity to stay with a variation of the pose that doesn't work. The great purpose here is that we're coming into a formation of a twist. But if this starts to pressurize through your hip or your back or your knee, uncross and lay the right knee on top of the left, no harm done. Alternatively, you can stay and choose to prop beneath the left knee. Or you might need to do that in any case. Drink in 3 easy breaths here. And when your inhale comes, lift the knees through center, and you can uncross anywhere along the path, readjusting your hips. This time we'll lift and cross the left leg on top of the right. I like to use my right foot to reposition and pivot the hips a bit, so both knees now can fall to the right side. And again, depending on how it feels in your body, you could always choose to prop the knees as a cross. You could choose to uncross. You could always wiggle and shimmy and change so that you're finding release. And the really nice thing about being slow, moving from this slow place, is we might notice in greater depth than if we were moving quite quickly. Hopefully held into a semi-comfortable shape for these next few breaths. Let's take our last 3. Right, when your inhale comes, lift the knees back up through center and cross anywhere along the path that feels good. When you come back, it might feel really nice to hug the knees in toward yourself. You could take this in action or you could take it in stillness. That's totally up to you. If there's a final pose that feels good, happy baby, catching the ankles or blades of the feet. Might even feel nice to hold the hands behind the thigh bones and just stretch the soles of the feet softly to the sky. Take an extra big, long breath. And when you're ready to, we're going to spill ourselves all the way over the mat. However it is that makes the most sense to you, give yourself permission to be comfortable. So sometimes we need to take a moment and reapply clothing or cover up with our blanket or pad a portion of our body that needs support. Lay your hands where they're comfortable. For today, I'm going to leave mine rested onto my belly. Rest your shoulders down into the floor. Rest the back of your head and the skin of your face. Every part of us now has the opportunity to soften and fall. Soft fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, knees and elbows, hips and shoulders, the heaviness of each limb. Rest the whole surface of the back and the whole surface of the chest and the whole surface of the belly. Rest the weight of your head and the skin of your face.
the strength of your jaw, and the soft skin that holds your smiling eyes. Rest everything and then come to a moment where you can really slow the awareness of breath around, so that it can even come to a place where you don't feel you have to participate in this breath at all. Welcome yourself to a moment to simply be. Without feeling the need to move a muscle, see about drawing your awareness back into the center of your body, where you can re-meet the full quality of your breath. Held by the movement of your breath, the release of your body, and the whispers of your heart here, I'd love to close our practice today by sharing with you some beautiful words by Muji. If you give yourself 1 complete minute of focused presence to simply stop, even just to listen to your own heart beating, it will take you out of your head and introduce you to the moment, which is complete in itself. It's not on the way to another moment. It's not a bridge to another opportunity. It's timeless perfection. Stop and see the moment. And my deep hope is that when we have the chance to connect with a practice that moves slowly, reopens the breath and the body and the heart, we have an opportunity for realignment with whatever it is that we feel like maybe we've fallen out of alignment with. It's my great pleasure to share these classes with you. The light that burns within me sees and very deeply bows to that exact same light that burns brightly in you. Namaste.